My wife and I have a bucket list of concerts we want to see, but the list is actually entitled Before They Kick the Bucket List.
And when you're listening to it, you kind of look around like, am I the only one that's hearing this story?
Yes.
Help me out. You've got to come in.
Well, that's where I'm struggling. Angie and I are going to be better friends after this, or she's going to run me over with her car.
Welcome to Worth the Journey, a Worthington Schools podcast. My name is Angie Adrean, and I get to serve Worthington Schools as the Assistant Superintendent of Academics.
And I'm Jeff Maddox. I get to serve as the Human Resources Director for the district.
It's great to be with you today, Jeff.
It's always great to be with you, Ange. Why are we here?
Because we're certainly not podcast experts.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Give us 18 episodes, we might get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We may just do that. Have you ever heard a story that's absolutely amazing? And while you're listening to the story, you kind of look around like, is anyone else hearing this awesome story?
Yes. As the HR director, as you know, I get to listen to people's stories almost daily.
There are a lot of stories in Worthington Schools that need to be shared. We have a lot of great teachers, a lot of great staff, administrators, community members who make things happen for our Worthington School students. And we believe it's important to share their stories.
Absolutely. And over the time, hopefully we're able to pull those stories out and share them with everyone.
And we have to give credit to the Ohio State University class, the communications class that we had an opportunity to visit and meet with and be a part of this past school year.
That was an incredible opportunity.
We're pretty lucky in Worthington Schools that we have a lot of candidates who want to be a part of our school system. Nevertheless, there's a teacher shortage.
Absolutely. We're very fortunate. We have incredible candidates every year. Even though the shortage is real, we need to be ahead of that and make sure that we're always attracting the best people to our district.
Yep. So this communications class reached out to us and said, how can we help? So we became engaged with it. And it was almost like this Shark Tank episode where that class was divided into several different groups. And they gave us lots of ideas on how we can continue to put Worthington Schools on the map so that we have teachers who are attracted to be a part of our school system. And one of those groups said to us, you guys need a podcast. And I remember looking at you during that class going, wonder who they're talking about.
Totally
Never in a million years did I think it was going to be you and I sitting here doing a podcast together.
I would not have it any other way. You're the only one I would want to do this podcast with.
That's why we're here. Thanks to those OSU students who helped us
plant the seed and the idea of bringing a podcast to Worthington to highlight the great stories. You're rolling, Angie. You're doing a great job of that.
So thanks to our OSU students for giving us the courage to put together Worth the Journey podcast. We appreciate your help with that.
Great idea. It was tough for both of us because in the end, we had to choose a winner. There were 6 phenomenal groups, and choosing one was really hard. Thanks to the OSU students for suggesting the podcast.
So we're excited to share the stories of several of our teachers, staff members, and community members during this podcast, because that is our purpose.
Why don't you jump in and share your own story, Ange? How did you land here in Worthington?
Oh my gosh, Jeff. Believe it or not, just a couple weeks ago, I had my first STRS meeting, State Teacher Retirement System. Never in a million years did I think I would be having a conversation with STRS this soon, because I'm not that old, Jeff. I've only been in education for 32 years. That's not a lot, is it?
That's not, considering I'm 33, so that's amazing.
Nice. So my career started back in 1991 at Mansfield Senior High School. I was an art teacher at Mansfield Senior High School for a couple years, continued my art teaching career at Washington Courthouse High School, and then after 7 years of teaching, became an administrator for Hilliard Schools. And I remember being an assistant principal at Hilliard Darby High School. So that was around 98 to 2003, I think. And I can remember driving around 270 from Westerville, because that's where I lived at the time, looking over and seeing Worthington Kilbourne High School and thinking, someday I think I want to be a principal. I think I want to be a principal, and I think I want to be a principal at that high school. After Hilliard Darby High School, I went to Gahanna to be a middle school principal, and I was a middle school principal at Gahanna Middle School South for about 8 years, and then I arrived back, or first time, I guess, not back, but first time in Worthington Schools.
When you became a wolf, not a cardinal.
I became a wolf. And I know that there's some controversy there with you because
I'm a cardinal.
Yep, you're a cardinal and I was a wolf. But 6 years as the high school principal at Worthington Kilbourne High School, and now just finished my 6th year as assistant superintendent. So 32 years is my journey thus far, and I'm not done yet, Jeff.
Oh, no, you got a long way to go. I'm going to take you back to 1971. I grew up on Clearview Avenue, where my parents moved from Grand Island, Nebraska, and that allowed me from Clearview Avenue to attend Wilson Hill, where at one point they were the Wilson Hill Wolverines. I will make a movement through this podcast to bring back the mascot of the Wolverines and move away from the White Tigers, because I, in fact, have the Wilson Hill Wolverine sweatshirt still. It does not fit. Went on to Worthing Way, and then on to Worthington High School as a Worthington Cardinal. My first teaching job was at Westerville South High School as a special ed teacher. From there, I was the Dean of Students at Thomas Worthington High School. Left Thomas Worthington in 2001, where I interviewed and somehow was able to get a job at Hilliard Darby, where I was fortunate enough to work as a teammate with Angie Adrean. And then from there, I came back to Worthington as the Perry Middle School principal, had the good fortune of opening up Phoenix Middle School, then was moved to central office, where I became the director of innovation, had the good fortune of opening up Worthington Academy, and then for the past 9 years, I've been the HR director for the Worthington City Schools.
Jeff, it's amazing how careers and education can bring people together, as it did you and I. I can think of a lot of situations where, when I look back and think about my friendships that I've had over time, many of those friendships that are stronger today are those people that I got to work with in education. So it
makes work a whole lot more fun when you get to come and work with people you really enjoy working with.
Absolutely. I do, however, remember interviewing you because I was already an assistant principal at Hilliard Darby High School, and we needed another assistant principal. In walks Jeff to be interviewed. First time we ever met. And I don't know if you remember this or not, Jeff. I think it was in the latter part of the interview. One of the questions was something to the effect of, what's the most recent book you read? Because oftentimes when you ask somebody what book they've read, you get to know a little bit about them, like what their interests are without saying, what are your interests? So what book did you read? Do you remember what you answered in that interview, Jeff?
I do. Unfortunately, I've been trying to forget that response. Like all of us, we've all had to go through interviews. And when you get back in the car after interviewing, you reflect on that interview and you think to yourself, man, I hit a home run on this question, or I might have missed this a little bit. Without a doubt, I thought I did not get the job based on my response to the very simple question of what are you currently reading? Well, 2001, my oldest son, Grant, at that time would have been around 2 years old. And the only book, because I drew a blank, the only book I could think of at that time was Everyone Poops, because I've read it so much to all three of my kids. I can still to this day recite that book. But imagine my horror in the interview when I said Everyone Poops, and I still got the job.
You did. And I can remember all of us just kind of looking at each other like, at least he's honest. He's real. And we kind of like this guy. Let's come full circle on that and kind of bring us back around here. Worth the Journey is a first-time podcast for Worthington Schools. We're excited to be here because we get to, in this podcast, share the success stories and the journeys of those that we get to work with.
There are incredible stories in every one of our buildings that over time we will have a new platform to share those stories. We are excited about that. This is our intro to this, so rest assured, Angie and I will talk less and we'll share more stories, and we will be reaching out to folks to invite them in to be able to share those stories. And that's going to range from teachers and parents and principals and our incredible classified staff. There are stories after stories after stories that we want to share and the why behind those stories.
And Jeff, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, because I know this is top of mind for you, but every podcast will have some sort of rapid fire question or just some fun questions to get to know those that we interview.
That is absolutely correct. And I want to make the first stab at this with you, Ange.
Okay,
so
I'm
if
ready.
You play along with me,
I'm ready.
I'm going to ask you questions, and they're going to be simple one-word answers, two-word answers, yes, no's. Don't want a lot of thought about this. If you want to interject a quick reason why, totally cool with that as well. But this is an opportunity for us to get to know Assistant Superintendent Angie Adrean
Nice.
better?
Jeff, my palms are a little sweaty.
That was a line from Eminem's song.
What?
My palms are sweaty, Mom's spaghetti.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
Sorry.
good song.
I'm just telling you the truth.
All
My
right.
palms are a little sweaty.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Don't overthink these things.
All right. I won't overthink
These
it.
are high-level questions.
Okay. I'm ready.
These are important questions that, and honestly, every human being needs to have an opinion about these.
Okay.
All right? You ready?
Yep.
Texting or talking?
All talking for sure.
Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to speak to animals?
Oh, I'd much rather be able to speak to animals.
Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
Do the animal crackers have icing on them?
Yes.
No.
Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is
Awesome.
first celebrity crush.
Tom Cruise, maybe?
If you lived in Cleveland, would you root for the Browns?
Yes.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
I'm kind of simple on this one. I just like vanilla.
That's pretty boring. Have you ever worn socks with sandals?
Absolutely not.
I don't believe that that's true. I have no pictures to prove it. Is double dipping a chip or a veggie at a party ever acceptable?
No. No way. The only way you could do that, there is a caveat there.
There's always going to be a
If I
caveat
have
on
like
that
a
one.
pretzel rod, and I dip one side of it, and then I break it in half before I dip it, as long as I'm not,
Be honest.
you can't double dip.
If you
Just
can
no double
guarantee
dipping.
that nobody ever knew or
No
saw
way.
you
There's
do it,
no way. I
you
can't
still
do
wouldn't
it. No,
All right.
can't do it.
Favorite NFL team?
I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan.
Yikes.
Yep.
You always told me you were the Steelers fan.
I know, but you
Is
can't
that-
bring that up.
Wait a minute. Can we back up? Were you a Tampa Bay fan before Tom Brady showed up with Tampa Bay?
I was. Nobody believes that, but I truly was.
gonna go
You know
on
why
record.
I
I
picked
don't
him?
believe that.
So here's kind of how I pick NFL teams, or when I first started liking NFL. First of all, I picked the color. Do I look good in the sweatshirt or the color of the NFL team?
Spoken as a
it's
true
less
art
about-
teacher.
It's less about the team and more about the colors, and the Tampa Bay colors are pretty cool.
All right. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
If you did not work in education, what type of job would you have?
Definitely something in the arts. Probably
see
like an interior decorator, graphic design, something to that nature.
Are tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable?
Fruit,
Favorite candy of all time?
Snicker bar.
Here's the interesting thing about candy. Did you know candy gets significantly better if you put it in the freezer?
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Snicker
for
bar, right
example,
there.
like a Reese's cup is awesome. Let's be honest. The combination of peanut butter and chocolate may arguably be the best two flavors of all time. But if you put it in a freezer, then they become significantly better. I've not been able to figure that one out, but it's true. Scientifically proven. What are your go-to pizza toppings?
Pepperoni, mushroom, and banana pepper.
Oh, that's really good. That's a very good one, actually. Favorite TV show as a kid?
I liked me some Ricky Schroeder and Silver Spoons.
Oh, do you remember Ricky Schroeder and how many stand-up arcade games he had? Those things were phenomenal. One of the games was Tempest, which was a very underrated 80s game, by the way. Are you an optimist or a realist?
I can't say both, can I?
You could, but then I'm going to challenge you on that.
No, I think I'd say both, but I think I'm probably just a realist.
I would say.
I want to be an
No, you-
optimist, but I think I'm a realist.
What is the best concert you ever saw in person?
Tina Turner.
Ooh, she would have been a good one. What was your nickname as a kid growing up?
I don't know that I really had one. Angie, maybe. I didn't really have a nickname.
What is your favorite rom-com of all time?
I don't know what that means.
Romantic comedy.
Oh, rom-com. I guess I didn't get the lingo on that. Romantic comedy. I don't know. That's one I can't answer.
You're not like a sucker for Sleepless in Seattle? No. You've Got Mail,
No.
underrated movie called Eurovision with Will Ferrell. I love that movie. I might arguably be the only one who loves that movie. I try to get my family to watch it all the time, but it's a really good movie. Finally, and honestly, this is the only question that really, really matters. What is your favorite cereal of all time?
My favorite cereal of all time.
There's
So there's
lot
a
of truth to
cereal
that.
out there that I love, but you have to let it sit in the milk for a while because if not, it will hurt the roof of your mouth.
Patience
and that
is
is
tough.
Captain Crunch.
Captain Crunch is a phenomenal cereal, but to your point,
Yes.
it will cut the palate of your mouth
Absolutely.
if you attack it too quickly.
Yep.
Which is, for guys like me, super hard to be patient as you're staring at that bowl of cereal. That's hard. So we're going to end every episode with some goofy questions with our guests to have fun with it at the end, let you learn who these people are. But we look forward to having you come back and listen to episode 1.
I'm super excited about the interviews that we're going to get to engage in, and I hope we have an audience who enjoys following us, learning with us, and experiencing the interviews that we get to experience in our work together.
Be patient with us. That's all we ask. I promise you, we're going to bring stories that are going to have you go, man, I'm really happy I heard that story, or I didn't realize that. We encourage you to reach out to us if you have stories that you feel need to be shared in our district. Please do that, because we are not the keeper of the stories. We want to bring the stories to life.
We're definitely not experts in it. This process isn't going to be easy, but I guarantee it'll be worth the journey.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, Ange. And email us with topics if you got them.
Thanks. Have a great day.